Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers on the broadcast today, coming to you from Thacker Pass, home of potentially the world's largest lithium mine. The guest today, John Evans. He's the CEO of Lithium Americas, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers. Big R in Sparks is located on Bering Boulevard next to Smith's and across from Reed High School for workwear and everyday wear, evaporative coolers, outdoor living, Weber's, Traeger's, and Lodge. Fill your propane tanks here. Big R on Bering Boulevard in Sparks next to Smith's and across from Reed High School. Big R. Hardware, clothing, and a whole lot more.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the do-it-right guys and get the air conditioning back on today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why sweat for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your air conditioning fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
Fantastic cocktails and delicious food. It's a good time to eat. Over 500 hot slots plus electronic table games.
It's a good time to play.
Player rewards and big time jackpots.
It's a good time to win.
Ooh, your good times are Tamarack.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from Thacker Pass up in Humboldt County, and we're delighted to be joined by John Evans. He is the CEO of Lithium Americas. It is a pleasure to be here with you, sir. Thank you for allowing us to come up here and shoot.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, Sam, and thanks for coming up. What a beautiful day we have too.
Yes, it's absolutely gorgeous. So GM bought into the company. So
Yes.
It's not just that they want the lithium, they actually believe so much in the company, they put in over $600 million.
Yeah, they did. Their first investment was half of that. It was actually 320, and then there'll be a subsequent another investment of 330 million to the company. They're essentially lending us their balance sheet to supercharge the project. And in addition to that, there'll be debt financing with the U.S. government, which we're working to close before the end of this year, both the administration and our project, to fund this world-class project in our country.
And that doesn't include the fact that they'll also be purchasing, so they're part ownership of the company now,
right.
But they'll also be purchasing the lithium for their automobiles.
It will. So everything leaving this site is going to be a finished product. It's pharmaceutical-grade material that's going to be put into a cathode and a battery in the Midwest. So Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee is where their Ultium factories are.
It's really quite extraordinary. You have other investment coming from the federal government?
Yes.
So how does that work?
That's a loan. So the loan program office, which is part of the Department of Energy and part of the whole industrial strategy that's come out with the administration around batteries in general, offers low-cost financing for projects like this. Now we have to pay the money back. Sure. But the lender is the U.S. Treasury, and you've seen a couple of these loans, well, even in our own state here with Redwood, getting a loan for $2 billion to finish construction of their facility down closer to Reno. General Motors actually has a loan for their Ultium factories in the Midwest. Ford just got a $9 billion loan. Li-Cycle, which is a recycler, about a $500 million loan. Their government is helping accelerate this by offering really attractive debt financing in an environment, as we all know, with mortgage prices up and so forth. Financing can be a challenge now. The government's trying to take that barrier away, which it's a real game changer.
And in addition to all of this, GM is pretty much going to buy everything that you can produce for what, the next 10 years?
Yes, 10 to 15 years. So
that's an unbelievable thing for any business.
They're a great partner. We're proud, as you can see the vehicles here, there's all GM vehicles here now.
Shocking.
Yeah. No, but look, we're really proud to be part of helping enable their strategy, and they've had great success in the marketplace. They have a great history as well, and this is going to play a key part in enabling that. And we're really proud of being on that mission with them, and we're proud that they selected us and we partnered up together.
Once you broke ground here, that ended all the protests, correct?
Yes.
On site at least.
On site, and I think that the other piece of that was, of course, the record of decision went through an appeal process in district court. Of course, it always goes to the appellate or the appeals court, federal appeals. It was denied there as well, and off we go.
It's fascinating to me, and I'll say this, and you can completely avoid answering the question if you choose, but it's stunning to me that, as we're trying to change the economy to a green economy, and we need lithium to be a big part of that, we need geothermal, we need solar.
Everything.
But in every case, there are unbelievable objections from environmental groups, and it doesn't make sense to me.
There's always going to be an impact, and I think we were chatting before the interview. You need constructive dialogue, but while some parties are constructive, others are not, and it's just we don't want any development at all, and that's just not possible. You're going to have to make changes, and I think government knows that. I think the population in general knows that, and I think they embrace it, just given, as you go back, the economy is changing, and there's a real strategic imperative here. You see it in semiconductors, batteries is no different. In the automotive industry, 5% of the private jobs in this country are somehow associated with the auto industry, whether in the factories, their supply chain. It's the supply chain, it's a massive driver. And then there's all the technology that's associated with that. And when batteries here are well beyond that, as we know. It's in weapons systems, it's in stationary storage for renewables. So this is key for our country.
It seemed to me that once it became a Department of Defense issue and national security, that it was pretty much all over. It had to move forward.
Projects like this are key, and we're the only one in construction and permitted on federal land in the country. Think about that this project here is the first lithium project that's been permitted in this country in over 60 years. That's how long it took. And it's all started here. So lithium actually started in the US, South Dakota, North Carolina, Canada, and it all went offshore in the late 80s and early 90s. We invented the lithium-ion battery here. All the cathode chemistry you're hearing about, lithium iron phosphate, all was here. And it went offshore, and we lost control of that. As we did semiconductors, and during COVID, this is a discussion I had with General Motors. I said, boy, the IRA must be great, and it helped really get you guys interested. And they said, their head of supply chain said, look, we had such challenges with semiconductors during COVID, it really hurt our business. We needed more active, we need to know where our materials are coming from, have oversight and security around them, because it's a business imperative.
And one of the things that I've heard, and you can tell me if this is based in fact or not, is that there's actually foreign money that's trying to fight environmentally what's happening here.
It's been in the newspapers. Canada, there are rare earth projects in the US as well. I think the US government alerted the Canadian authorities to fake Twitter accounts, or I guess you call it X now, fake Facebook and so forth, people that didn't even exist. And frankly speaking, I mean, we knew for a fact that the folks that came here from out of state just morphed from another project, and they're paid. This isn't a grassroots effort. This is like a professional group. It's like the old cartoons of the sheepdog and the fox, checking out at the end of the day after they chased around each other. This is a professional group.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back and let's talk about this project and where you are, because it's amazing. We'll be right back at Thacker Pass after this timeout.
It's the $100,000 Cash is King Progressive giveaways at Carson Valley Inn. Giveaways every Saturday with a Progressive up to $20K and $15,000 in guaranteed grand prize giveaways. There's another 100,000 reasons to play and win at the Carson Valley Inn.
Remember 2010 in northern Nevada, 13 to 14% unemployment, thousands of homes in foreclosure, Nevada's casinos closing? Families in the Reno-Sparks area were hurting. Many were losing everything. Then Story County launched a game changer for our region, a public-private industrial partnership, streamlined permitting, slashed bureaucracy, attracting Fortune 500 companies that made Nevada their home. Story County generated a river of cash to area communities. Economic studies by the state and others for the Gigafactory consistently show positive economic benefits for our region. $4 billion in local wages, $17 billion in consumer spending and economic activity, over $100 million in taxes to Washoe, Story, Reno, Sparks, and Nevada, just for the Gigafactory alone. Story County, improving northern Nevada one industry at a time.
Safety is the #1 priority for the trucking industry. Over $7 billion a year is spent on technology like this electronic eye that will apply the brakes automatically. But the most important factor for safety is the truck driver. These hardworking men and women who safely move over 70% of our nation's freight and 94% of Nevada's. We thank you because trucks move America forward.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from Thacker Pass. We're on site here about an hour from Winnemucca with John Evans. He's the CEO of Lithium Americas. So the project is well underway here.
Yes.
You're working at this point in time on the plant. Explain what the plant is.
The plant is really the heart of this project. Look, we don't consider ourselves a mining company. If you look at the capital cost of this, it's really on material that comes out of this is essentially almost pharmaceutical grade. So 95% of the cost here is that processing facility. It's a specialty chemicals plant. So the engineering for that is well advanced. We're working with Bechtel, as we've announced, to get together our list of long lead time equipment, which we know, all of the prints and so forth for contractors to get to work. What you're seeing out here now, or what you drove around and saw, was preparation for all that. Site planning, water, utilities, really setting the site up for, it's almost like building a house. Cleared the lot, the architects are done. It's gone to your subcontractors now, and they're getting ready to start putting the iron in the ground.
How much acreage do you own at this point?
Our claims are extensive. They go all the way up to the border of Nevada. But if you look at the project area here, it's about, the project area itself is about 6,000 acres.
So that's huge.
It's huge. It is. And you know, there's lithium everywhere here, just the geology of it. I think our claims for phase 1 and phase 2, somewhere around 17 or 18,000 acres when you look on this side of the road and across the road from across where the plant is. So this is all BLM public land.
I was surprised that you'll actually be producing lithium within 2.5 years.
2026 is our target mechanical completion. I expect startup to be fairly quick because the process from ore to final product is about 24 hours or less. And then in 2027...
Really? That's super fast.
You put it in the front of the plant. We actually mix it with some water to put it in slurry, which we recycle and squeeze out before we put back in the ground. And the conversion process is a matter of hours. It's not... it's different than a brine process where you have to sort of evaporate and so forth. It's like a traditional factory.
Now, you don't have a lot of water here on site, right? But you're bringing in water from the Quinn River Valley?
Right next door, right over the ridge and back of us here.
And you have what you need?
We have more than we need for phase 1. That's a very productive aquifer. Our water use for phase 1 mimics what you'd see in a medium-sized farm. It's about 4 center pivots. We have extensive engineering to recycle, and we also do zero liquid discharge here. So this was all extra engineering that was done to be as parsimonious as we can. Each drop of water is used over 7 times. So we're very much like a medium-sized plant or farm on the other side of the ridge over here, but producing high-value lithium chemical here.
Now, throughout the phase of construction, about 1,000 workers?
1,000 to probably more than that, actually. It's probably peak a little bit under 2,000 workers.
Really? That's a lot of people.
Yes.
And you're working, I'm presuming, with Winnemucca?
We are. We have a workforce hub, which is, you've seen, typical of facilities that we provide for folks, whether some folks come and they work RV, we'll have housing available as well. Here we'll have the ability for folks to get lunch and so forth on site because they're working 12-hour shifts. We'll bus people from Winnemucca, very much like you see those parking lots in Winnemucca for Nevada Gold, and we'll be doing the same thing.
Right. And mitigation, I'm presuming, has to be done with both Humboldt County and with Winnemucca.
Yes.
What are you looking at?
So the land we have at this point, it's actually being cleared and prepared. We have structures actually as well. Basically, they're not permanent to put on the site itself. Over the next coming months and into the spring next year, you'll see that come together, and we'll have a basis here to be able to really accept and be able to support this ramping workforce, which, as I mentioned, it's 1,000 to 2,000 workers, when you peak, but we'll phase things here as the project goes as well. We're working closely with the community as well to make sure that any impacts there, I know there's lots of consternation around lots of workers coming into town. It's pretty common practice in Nevada too, where you've seen this as well. People commute long distances. It's almost unheard of on the East Coast, but some folks will drive an hour or 2 hours to work. We'll provide buses up here though for safety reasons, but also for folks to save on gas.
Right, and like you say, that's typical with other mining projects as well. How many permanent workers would you have here?
About 300. So the focus there is obviously we want to attract as much from the local community as possible. Your best employees are your neighbors. So that's going to be the real focus and some of those folks I'm sure are going to work during the construction. But having the remaining workforce here as an employment opportunity for whether it's the tribe 40 miles to the north, folks in Winnemucca, and even probably further beyond. I mean, people drive from Battle Mountain or Lovelock. It's a large area that we'll recruit from.
Now, is this phase one? Is there?
Yes.
Okay, so what are you looking at further down the road?
You could do 2, 3, 4 phases here. So
really?
So will be a paper coming out soon, which the estimation is that there's over 600 million tons of lithium contained in this deposit.
600 million tons.
So it would be the largest deposit known on the face of the earth. So all in this area here, which over the hill, as opposed to other projects that you'll see that really have to grow or look for other things that are maybe not contiguous with the current footprint, there's lithium everywhere here, just based on the geology. So it's really unique in that what you see currently today, material coming from Australia going to China, coming to the US, or heck, even Canada, shipping to far-flung places. We do all that here, reduces our life cycle footprint, and our carbon footprint itself is a lot more compact than a traditional mining operation. It's more in line with a brine-based operation, but we don't have the same footprint as a brine-based because we don't have the evaporation ponds.
All right, so if you got to phase 3 and 4, where would that be in terms of supplying the needs of the United States in terms of lithium?
We're very proud to be part of that supply chain, but lithium demand in this country is growing, a little under 20% a year, and will be through 2030. So, today we're consuming somewhere around 100,000 tons of material a year. Phase 1 here is 40. However, that's going to go up to 500,000 or 600,000 tons by 2030. We'll be consuming a little less than what the world consumes today in the U.S., given the growth of EVs in this country and hybrid vehicles and stationary storage for the grid. Whereas, say we do phase 2 by then, we'll be producing 80,000 tons a year, but the demand in the U.S. is, say, 500. So it's a lot, but you can see that demand is really outstripping supply. So there needs to be more projects like this, which I think I commented to you earlier. It's going to be a tall order. We're not going to be independent on lithium between the U.S. and Canada between now and 2030. It takes too long. This has been 16 years to go from picking up data that Chevron had, developing this into a project, moving forward, permitting, appeals, financing, engineering. That's how long it's taken. We don't have that kind of time.
And it doesn't appear that the federal government is in any position to speed this up, the permitting process.
There's been some changes to the permitting process, and actually some that remained that were put in. Actually, the Obama administration and the Trump administration made some changes to the permitting process that put some guidelines around EIS time periods. That's been now I think more put into law by the Biden administration. I think the harder part that you have is, well, and you spoke earlier, is on the appeals process. So while there's guidelines on an EIS should take 2 years, and I think that's what investors need to see, yes or no, or go back to the drawing board, as opposed to in limbo forever. But the appeals process, there's no statute of limitations on that. So people can make things up and have you in court forever.
But seeing what happened with GM, do you have a line of people who are willing to step up for later phases already?
Yeah, we've had plenty of phone calls if their phase 2 has been accounted for yet. I think in this industry, once you progress ahead, permit certainty is one of the biggest issues in this country to get private capital off the sidelines. So the federal government has helped that with the Loan Program Office, almost like a venture capital type of funding. Permit certainty, though, is going back to my earlier statement around time value of money. If I'm going to invest in you, I want to know 5 years later that I'm going to get cash flow versus 15, 20 years. It makes it uninvestable. So that's a key piece that I think the government, for all they can do, they really can't fix that, because look, we live in a country with laws.
A litigious society as well.
We do. And look, the permitting process, you need to have all those in there to make sure the project is done correctly. But once it's permitted, once it's been through the courts, just like anything else, you're off and running. And GM, I'm sure, is interested in phase 2 themselves. As I mentioned, they'll probably need 3 of these projects, 3 phase 1s by 2030. Ford needs as much. Stellantis, VW. That number gets pretty big. 500,000 or 600,000 tons is a massive amount of material needed.
My understanding is a lot of those companies have already been through your center in Reno.
We had over 50 companies that have gone through our technical development center. I mean, I have experience in the industry. It's probably one of the largest ones. You've been there, you've seen, we have the complete circuit under one roof. We have a life-size beneficiation piece over in the corner that we tested for 6 months. This has been vetted. It's been vetted by the federal government. Obviously, GM did their homework as well. It works. It's a great deposit. And there were a lot of folks that were interested. GM just moved really quick.
More from Thacker Pass when we come back.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with John Evans. He is the CEO of Lithium Americas, and we're out here at Thacker Pass, about an hour from Winnemucca. You mentioned the phrase stationary storage as one of the things that lithium is needed for. Explain what that is.
Those are large batteries that are used to manage intermittency in the grid. So storing solar power during the day for use in the night. Same thing with wind. When the wind stops blowing, it keeps the current, if you will, steady in the grid. And also for managing outages on the grid, where you've got to switch and manage the grid and you need 20 minutes or 30 minutes until you figure that out. These are done with these battery farms now, which Tesla, I know the state of California has it widely employed. Florida, it does as well, but they use lithium batteries as well. And there's lots of questions there. Can sodium batteries be used? Weight doesn't matter with those. So there's an opportunity to expand chemistries a little bit versus when you get into mobile devices, including your car, trucks, that's when weight to energy density, where lithium ion it reigns king. But lithium is needed at all of it.
And at a certain point, this is going to be where it starts to move the need for natural gas plants to go away, not 100%, but over time.
Yeah, peaker plants, I mean, are absolutely essential to manage the grid, but with the continued deployment of renewables, eventually you'll have enough bandwidth to be able to manage that as well, with probably post-natural gas as well. So it'll be a while, but...
Right. Well, I think that's the big thing, is that a lot of people are thinking, oh, this is going to be 5 years, and it's not. It's going to be 30, 40, perhaps even longer.
Exactly.
Just one last question. You're taking care of the local communities. You're building roads, schools. Just give me 30 seconds on that.
Yeah, you came in on 93, you built the intersection there. We are working with the Orvada to replace the K-8 school, which I think you saw is vintage, well, older, much older than me. And I don't want to tell everyone how old I am, but I'm older than people think. We're also building a community center in Fort McDermott to the north, 40 miles to the north, really around preschool and daycare to allow both spouses to be able to work. There's been some instances now of tribal members returning home, some of them from very far away, but starting to build the infrastructure around ensuring traffic management, but also infrastructure where families can come and stay or return. And this is based on feedback from the community, what they're interested in. That's, of course, schooling, childcare, things like that are key.
Well, thank you so much for allowing us to come out here.
Oh,
we really appreciate it. It is beautiful country. We're showing as much as we can during this program. We're going to do another program with the mayor of Winnemucca and one of the county commissioners here, and also economic development, because this is such a bigger thing than even this project.
Yes.
It's vast. So again, thank you, and thank you for your investment in Nevada.
Absolutely proud to be here.
Thank you. And we'll be right back.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Event Center sits at the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. 2 floors of meeting and event space are ideal for groups and conventions. Stay in one of 200 luxurious rooms and suites. Brand your event throughout the property. Flexible event spaces make for easy planning and personalization. Take over the entire hotel with a full buyout option.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from Thacker Pass, potentially the site of the largest lithium mine in the world. We'll see you on the next broadcast.